Okay, let's look at the sensitivity analysis. So this is a result, but let me just go through how we quickly create this. But before doing that, let me explain how you look at this sensitivity analysis. So the sensitivity analysis normally using like two dimension of input and what impact it causes to your numbers. So in this case, we are analyzing the ROE result in 2026. So this 2026 ROE is 26.2% in a Singapore segment. And two dimensions or two inputs we are analyzing are, one is the cost growth rate, and the other is the interest expense rate. So this Singapore segment, how we structure it in the model, it looks exactly the same as the FS tab you are familiar with, but the only difference is here. So the cost, headcount cost, operation cost, and so on, is growing by this input, operation cost growth. One thing you need to be careful is you cannot set up the different growth rate. You can just input here and then referring to this cell, right? So every month, same growth rate. For this case, right? In order to explain this sensitivity analysis, I need to fix this growth rate because the input must be only one place. By the way, you will know what I'm going to explain. So cost growth rate is 2%. And then the interest expense rate, 5%. This is also as an input here. Where is it? Yeah, this one. Interest expense rate, 5%. Same thing. It's the same rate throughout the month, throughout the periods. So what this table means is if the cost growth rate is 2%, and if the interest expense rate is 5% as input, your ROE result in 2026 is 26.2% that it shows. And if cost growth rate go up by 0.5%, which is 2.5, your ROE will drop 22.1%. Of course, right? Because your cost increases, which means less profitable, and then your ROE drops. And interest expense, same thing, right? If the cost growth rate is same, doesn't change, but interest expense rate changes 0.5% up, your ROE goes down a little bit like this. So this is showing the ranges of the changes if you change this input. So the interesting thing is you are not changing the input, right? I can simulate the number, by the way. So now it's a result is 20.6, 26.2, right? And if the interest rate becomes 6%, let's simulate that, 6% change, right? So your result is 25.6 because it's here. And then you didn't change the growth rate of the cost, which is here, this one, 25.6, 25.6, right? So this table means that even without changing your model of input, it's already showing the possible cases within this range of changes. That's the meaning of this sensitivity analysis. Okay. And I can add on something else. So for example, interest rate changes. This is the impact of the interest rate changes. In this base case, I would say base case because this is the base case, right? This is the base case. This is the base case. Okay. If you fix this cost growth rate, your interest expense sensitivity of the changes is not a lot, right? It changes, of course, but the ranges are very small. 25 to 27, 2% range. But if the cost growth becomes 3% now, and your ranges becomes wider, bigger, this is another thing you can analyze. Right? Same thing. If the cost growth becomes smaller, your ranges of the interest rate sensitivity becomes less. It's a shorter range of the impact. So this kind of insight you can obtain from this analysis. Okay, let's move on to how we create this table in Excel. This is more technical side. So first of all, you need to start from, okay, let me create here, starting from here. So first of all, you need to refer to the cell of the result. What kind of analysis you're doing? ROE, right? So your ROE is, if you're familiar with this single segment, it's coming from a yearly place of ROE here. Of course, this ROE is net profit of the year divided by average of total shareholder of equity. This one. So your ROE. This is the ROE 2026. I intentionally changing a little bit different way to write this, but the meaning is same, right? ROE here. And then the next step is this line. This line is important. Let me just put the colors on it. Maybe different color like this. Yep. So the important thing is there is a concept of row and column. So this is row. This is row. And this is column. Column, right? This is column. This is row. And then the row, you can decide the simulation range because you're going to put cost growth rate here, right? So starting point is 2%. You need to put 2% in the middle. That's the input you have in this model as a starting basis, right? This. And you can set up the range. You can manually change this range, right? 2.5% or 3%, which is also okay. Manually key in, that is also okay. But I use this approach. I use this approach because it's easier, right? 0.5%, 0.5%, and minus 0.5%, sorry, minus 0.5%, 0.5%. And then this is starting point plus this change, starting plus this change, right? And this one is same. Wait, yeah, this one is this plus this, which is dropping, and this is also dropping, right? This approach is good because you can change. Actually, this is yellow, right? Because you can change the ranges of the simulation. Same thing. This one is the column side is interest expense. Yeah. So your starting point is 5% because your input is 5%. Base case, I would say base case, 5%, right? And then this will be changing. Let's change a little bit different approach, 0.3, right? Different from this table. Intentionally making a little bit different table. I think the number of rows are also different. Yeah. And this same thing, this plus this, right? Gradually decreasing. And this one, starting base case plus 30 basis points, and so on, right? And just make it easier. This crossing cell is the base case, which is theoretically, it should be this one, right? The answer should be the answer, right? I think this is ready to go. Yeah. So now just click this, select this whole range of the table and go to Excel, sorry, data, what if analysis, this one, what if analysis, and data table. This is called data table. Sensitivity analysis is a data table. You cannot find the sensitivity analysis as a title of the function. Okay, data table. Very simple. Two inputs to create this data table. Row input cell. What it means, this is a row, right? Your simulation of the row side of the input, where is it located in your model? In your model, not this table. In your model, where is it? Row input is a cost growth rate, right? Cost growth rate is coming from here, this one. And then the column input cell, this is a column. Your column input, which is just interest expense rates, where is it located in your model as an input cell? Where is it? Here, right? Interest rate, expense rate. So you will key in this number here. Yeah, that's it. Simple. Okay. Press OK. It comes up. So you need to change this to percentage. Yeah. And decimal. Okay, look at this number. This is the base case, 5 and 2. That's your original input, right? That's 26.2, which is 20.62. Yeah. And this original table and the table which I created now is slightly different because this is 30 basis point difference, right? Rather than 50 basis point. So the outcome is slightly different, but this is showing how sensitive it is by those two inputs. This is how you create a sensitivity analysis. Of course, you can change cost growth rate to something else. You can change interest rate expense to something else, but it needs to be an input, right? And first I said that we need to fix this interest expense rate setting to rest of the periods because you cannot have a multiple input in the different periods because how do you compute, how do you simulate, right? Because you only have 2 dimensions. So the inputs needs to be only 2 for this sensitivity analysis. Okay, this is how you get this sensitivity analysis in Excel and what it means by this sensitivity analysis. Data table, in other words, to say.